Now we're going to look at part two, how to create a unique brand. In other words, how do you create a brand that's so valuable that people will feel like so motivated to spend all types of money to buy your product? And what does it take to create a unique brand? Well, let's look at a couple of different criteria that it takes. So creating a unique brand. Number one is establishing its USP or unique selling proposition. People also call this positioning. In other words, what makes your product so unique, so different, so much better than everyone else's that they will be willing to spend money on your product? The second part is picking the ideal name for your brand. If you pick the right name, it can motivate people to feel and be emotionally compelled to purchase your product. I mean, it's really amazing how that works, which kind of goes into the whole reason why we even try to create a brand. To be honest with you, the entire class that we talk about today, it hinges on your ability to create a unique and valuable brand for your customer. Because you can literally have a product, an incredibly outstanding product, but if customers aren't able to see the value, they won't purchase it. But if you create a unique enough brand and a unique enough experience or idea in the customer's mind, they will be emotionally compelled to buy that product and rave about it and tell their friends about it, and etc. and etc. That's why in this class we're going to be focusing more on selling your own products. Why? Because you can take a very generic product, add a powerful brand to it. Now, granted, a high quality generic product, add a powerful brand to it, and then all of a sudden you have people spending all kinds of money on your product. And that's exactly what we're going to really focus on in this class. So picking the ideal name for your brand, we're going to look at exactly how to do that as well. Another part to creating a unique brand is designing the ideal logo. Again, with the idea that we're putting that perspective in the customer's mind that'll emotionally compel them to buy. Picking the ideal name for your product itself. As you know many cars that you drive them down the street, they could just be a Toyota or a Lexus, but they're a Toyota Camry or a Lexus, you name it. It's just the product name, Ford Explorer. I mean, you name it. It creates a powerful image and a powerful experience for customers to know that that product has a name. We're going to look at exactly how you can create and find the best name for your product. Also, designing the ideal packaging. It's a difference between, getting something in the mail wrapped in bubble wrap and then getting something in the mail in a very glossy, good-looking box that makes you feel like, wow, you bought something of value. I mean, it's a very big difference. So we're going to look at exactly how do you design the ideal packaging for your product. Then we're going to look at how to create the ideal experience. In other words, again, to make the customer feel and put them in an emotional state, the perfect emotional state that'll make it very easy for them to take out their pocketbooks and buy. So let's go on and look at exactly how do we create the ideal unique selling proposition for your product. Well, I always ask the question, what will make your product different, unique, and better than everyone else's? Granted, we're talking about a generic product. Now, you may have found your product from our previous exercise or not, but if you're thinking about a product, again, what's going to make it stand out from everyone else's? And it doesn't have to be something that makes it better. It could just be something that makes it unique, which all of a sudden will equal value in the mind of your customer. And we'll look at exactly how to do this by a couple examples in the future. But again, pick a particular attribute. That's what I like to do. Find all the different features of this particular product. Then pick one of those specific features that you see your competitors are not focusing on and make that your unique selling proposition. Again, it's got to be a feature that brings a lot of benefit to the customer, and you'll explain to them exactly how it does that. But pick a unique feature or attribute and build on it. And then customers will remember that product for that one main thing, value that it brings for them. And I always say, too, try to find something that is difficult to copy. Because, again, if you found that unique feature and someone else can find it, too, then, of course, they can immediately come and try to compete against you. But if you can find something that is unique and difficult to copy, then, you would have a better chance of preventing the competition from taking over your sort of niche or side of the world, of the marketplace. So try to find something that is difficult to copy. Now, it could be maybe something that you add to it that you create yourself, or an additional accessory, an additional design, you name it. But the idea is that you're just trying to focus on something that is unique. Now, granted, if you can't, doesn't matter. You can still make money. Go ahead and just find some unique attribute and just let the competition and deal with it when it happens if it does. But if you can find something special that makes it difficult for you to copy, then do it. And we'll talk about specifically what that means, what that looks like later. Um, okay, so we talk about where do you find a great USP? Well, one of the places I always go is look at your competitors who are selling that either generic product or something similar. Then look at their reviews, especially the ones that are 3 stars and below. Look at what the customers are complaining about specifically. Maybe it's a missing component. Maybe they wish it did something else. And if you hear a lot of people complaining about the same thing, pick that and make that your unique selling proposition. You already know your customer is not taking care of, your competition is not taking care of that. So you can go ahead and pick that and make that your USP. Next thing you know, all of a sudden you're going to be able to stand out from your competition. Like I mentioned before, another great place to go is look at the specifications or features of your product, the feature specs, and then focus on a specific attribute you think will be very valuable in the eyes of your customer. Or it could be a really unique benefit that you see that your generic product can take care of for the customer. I like making it something that other people didn't think they didn't think about using the product for, and then all of a sudden that becomes your unique benefit. And I might mention a particular example to you later about that. But yeah, you make it unique that people have not used it for that purpose, and next thing you know, you have created a brand new sort of product from that generic product that's your own. Now let's talk about picking a brand name. How do you pick a great name for your brand? Again, many people get caught up on this one. It's really not that difficult because again, the whole idea is asking yourself the question: what feeling or emotion do you want to convey to your customer when they think about your brand? Whatever that feeling is, then that's sort of the direction you want to go. Like that's the path you want to follow to create the brand that'll help people have that feeling or that position that you're going to have in their mind. Generally, again, you probably want to pick a general name that'll highlight your unique selling proposition. Why general? Because you may sell multiple products or different lines of products through that brand name, so you want to make it somewhat general. It could be category specific, which is fine, but at least it's general enough to sell multiple products under that brand name. For example, we're going to look at this later, but if you're selling baking products, you can call it Baker's Delight. If you're selling, I don't know, well, we can talk about specific brand names later, but that's a perfect example. It's always the idea is that you're trying to create a brand that highlights your unique selling proposition and is general enough to sell a bunch of products under. The quickest way to find a great place is look at your competitors who are already selling products. Look at their brand name. Hey, they put the time, the effort, the money to come up with a great brand. Look at what their brand name is. Go to a thesaurus and look up that name and see if there are other ways of saying the exact same thing that sound really, really cool to the client, to the customer. You'll be amazed at how many really great words pop up and then all of a sudden you can use for your brand name. And all you did was just take your competitor's name and put it in a thesaurus or wherever they got their name and look for other names that are similar. And next thing you know, you have a great brand name. Now, granted, I'm not talking about taking McDonald's and turning it to McDowell's. That does not work. I'm talking more of, like my son said one time, taking McDonald's, then all of a sudden creating a restaurant called Chesburgers, kind of like cheeseburgers, but Chesburgers, because it's new, it's unique, but it sounds like you sell cheeseburgers. But that's just an example. How about designing an ideal logo? Where does that come from? Well, again, the idea is, and granted, a lot of these things you won't have to do it yourself, so don't worry if you don't have graphic experience, because we're going to look at exactly how we can go to other places to find someone to design our logo for us, and then we don't have to worry about it. So don't get caught up in having to do this yourself. You're just kind of like designing the whole process. So of course, you want to choose colors, fonts, etc. that will make people feel your unique selling proposition. if your brand name is Baker's Delight, you probably want to stay away from black colors, or maybe a maroon dark red. Well, actually, maroon's kind of nice. You might want to stay away from, I don't know, silver maybe. But if you probably want to keep to the pastels or the cake colored looking things like frosting and icing looking colors, vibrant colors. See, the idea is that color motivates people emotionally. So pick the colors that will highlight your unique selling proposition and give them that feeling. And like I mentioned before, you can go to a place like Fiverr.com or Elance. But I like Fiverr because you can hire a designer for your logo, give them the colors, fonts, and ideas that you want to do. Even send them a couple of examples of other logos that you've seen that you really like, and then give them the USP, and then they come up. See what they come up with. Granted, it doesn't have to necessarily look pretty to you. It's got to look pretty to your customers. But you will be amazed at some of the great work that people on Fiverr will do. And then what you do is you take that logo, and later on we're going to talk about testing and validation. And you're going to use that brand logo to try to test it with your brand and see what you come up with. But you'll be amazed at how quickly you'll be able to come up with a great logo. How about the product name itself? How do you pick a unique product name? Well, um, again, the value of this is the more unique the product name, the more valuable it will be. Value you'll create, and the more you can charge. I mean, we talked about cars. We talked about, there are other things too. Once you give it a name, all of a sudden people think the value is a lot higher. But I always say again, start with a unique selling proposition. But this time you're going to pick a specific product name that will highlight that USP. The brand is more general because again, you're probably selling a bunch of products under there. But the product name will be specific, a specific quality that highlights your unique selling proposition. Like I said before, look at what your competitors are doing. See what they're calling their products. Then use the thesaurus and get multiple names for that same attribute, and then test your different names for your product. How about ideal packaging? Your packaging, of course, should do what? Highlight your unique selling proposition. Again, if it's Baker's Delight, you're not going to put it in a black box, with silver words on it. It just kind of won't have the right feeling. Now, granted, you can get away with that if that's the feeling you're trying to convey. Like if you're trying to do a exclusive kind of like black card type of with a silver bow, a black box, talks about these these baked goods that are only used by the highest of taste, highest quality taste buds. You name it. You can actually build up on that, and that's fine. But generally, Baker's Delight, you're looking at the pastels. You're looking at colorful packaging, really nice, see-through so they can see the product. You name it. So that's the idea. Your packaging should highlight your unique selling proposition. Like I said before, the easiest place to look is your competitors, see what they're doing, and try to do something similar. But again, unique to what your unique selling proposition. And again, with packaging, the good thing is you can maybe copy the type of package, just change the labeling on it. You can do that too. Again, go to Fiverr and hire a package designer for $5. For one of my products, was blown away that for $5 I got the most incredible package box for this particular product. That it was amazing, but it only cost me $5. I even gave the guy extra $5 because he did such a great job. And that was going to be the design for the actual box that the product was going to come in. But it was amazing. I couldn't believe they did it. Again, you don't want to make the packaging too unique, so it will be because you don't want it to be too expensive to produce. Oh, forgive me for the word won't. I forgot the apostrophe there. But don't make the packaging too unique so it won't be too expensive to produce. Again, like I said before, if you make it some oblong, strange shape, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to produce, and then later on, of course, you're going to lose some of your profits to your packaging, and then you'll be out of business very quickly. And where do you go to get these printed up? You can always go to a printing company to produce them. There are places online that can produce packaging really well. You could always look up great packaging starter packages, for printing companies. There's a lot of different places you can go for these, but I'm sure you'll find them. And you shop around until you find the best price and the best quality, and then I'm sure you'll have your ideal packaging prepared. What about inside the packaging? Well, the inserts do make a difference. If you have a great package outside, you open it up, it's garbage. You know how it'll take away from the value of the product. So avoid bubble wrap as much as you can. You know, crinkle cut filler actually looks nice. The craft kind, the colored kind. If you want to have that effect, you can do that. I like vacuum formed plastic. That's the plastic, but that maintains the shape of the particular product, so you can just put the product in there. You can get some great vacuum formed plastic at some of the wholesale sales sources that I'm going to talk about from China. They have really, really great prices compared to some prices here, but you can also find great prices here as well in the U.S. Perforated cardboard is fine. I mean, if it's nice cardboard that kind of like your product fits really nicely into, hey, people actually appreciate that. I don't know if you've noticed, but when you open up your iPhone, it's made of cardboard, and then a lot of the inserts are all cardboard too. They're a nice glossy white cardboard, but it's still cardboard, and of course they save a ton and a load of expense on that, but it still looks nice. So you can do the same for yours. There's also something called pick and pluck foam. That's it's just the black foam that you can use if you have one of those sleek products that you want to utilize. The black foam, but you just kind of pick up little square pieces until it fits the exact shape of your product, and you can put it in there. And again, where do you find the packaging? Print shops, office supply. For the inside of the packaging, print shops, office supply, or vacuum form manufacturers as well. You'll find it there too. And then last, let's talk about creating the ideal experience for your product for the customer. If you provide anything extra, which is what you want to do, because you want to give the customer the best experience. Like what? Hey, can you add accessories? Add accessories. We'll talk about later how you can actually add a couple of bonuses to your product, with a free download an ebook, or it could just be a little card that you put in with your product that people look at it, they'll go to the website and they'll download their free ebook. It makes them really happy. But it could be accessories, other accessory, a carrying case, just different things you can add to it. Replacement parts. Sometimes people lose parts really quickly. You'll find that in reviews. A lot of people say that, hey, I wish it came with an extra wrist strap or an extra lens cap or etc. An extra, I don't know, you name it. They find a lot of value in that, and they find that they see you as very considerate and conscientious for them when you actually put that in there. Like I said before, free bonuses. A downloadable ebook is great. Just a lot of free things you can give them that makes the experience even better. How do you get some of this information? Hey, get tons of feedback from your customers, from the reviews, talking directly to them, or even test groups, people who test your stuff for you. Get a lot of feedback. Check the customer complaints and customer competitor reviews. These all will help you create the great experience by adding those things that your competitors are missing to the product. So we're going to look at do an exercise here. We're going to look at an example of a successful and unique brand on Amazon. In other words, these people took a very generic product and they added such a unique brand to it, great packaging, and it came up with a very such high value that it ended up becoming one of the most best-selling products in its category for this unique brand. So we're going to look at that at the next video.